one thing that I used to have on my list was, I don't want no dude that play video games.
Damn.
That was a long time ago, and I still don't care for video games. Like, I'm not gonna play Madden with you. I'm not gonna play FIFA with you. I'm not gonna play 2K with you. But I learned to respect what they provide for a lot of men, and that's that escape.
If you ask a guy who plays video games,
yeah,
he'll tell you one of the things that he would love to do is to teach his girl how to play the game.
Yeah, I know. That's
not even to be like, every time I hop on,
so that they can do it together and enjoy that
but
together.
Women be like, I remember my ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
One day I was like, hey, let me teach you how to play.
Sorry.
And she was like, do I look like one of your niggas? I said, excuse me? She said, do I look like one of your niggas? And I was like, I mean, I would hope you like my... And she was like, well, I ain't playing no video games. I said, dang.
Bruh. TikTok from, what's her name, Jess Whitney.
I think so.
So really this is just something that I want to talk about, but the video that she just recently put out aligned pretty well. And she was talking about, I guess, some people in her past were saying that she was single because she was basically too picky. And I guess her mom had given her this kind of, words of wisdom, talking about, like, when you go to the grocery store, you don't just pick any old thing, meaning that there's a time and a place to be selective. You might be okay with off-brand cereals, but, you don't want a bruised peach, meaning it's okay to be selective in certain things that matter or whatever. But what I wanted to get into is the topic of women being, like, doing too much in the dating process. The list that they talk about they have, it's a common theme that when women their standards are too high. They need to, like, bring it in a notch kind of thing. So I want to get your thoughts on, how do you feel about that statement? Do you feel it's true? What do you think?
Do I feel that women have too high standards?
Yes.
I don't think anyone's standards are too high. Mm-hmm. I just think that we have to be realistic about the pool in which we can pick from. Mm. And so if everyone wants the best of the best, right? Yeah. Then majority is competing for the minority. And so when you're wanting the top of the top, the best of the best, then you then have to understand that they have options. Yeah. And so what's going to make you stand out? Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, okay, I agree. I think people have to know what race to run, I guess, is kind of what you're getting at. But I do think that typically women are a little bit overly picky. I won't say picky. Standards are good, but I think we conflate our preferences with our actual needs. And then I think even some of those preferences are just based in the sky. Right. Like some of the things that are particular on our list. I remember being in a Bible study. I don't know why we was talking about this, but that's what we was talking about.
Best place to talk about it.
Right. And one of the girls was like, she doesn't date dudes that don't have an iPhone. Like, just, okay. I get it. I know how y'all iPhone users be. You have one foot in, one foot out. But it was like, these are things that they're like, she had a real reason behind it that she thought
made sense to her.
It did. And it's not that it didn't make sense, but it's like, boo-boo, come on, stop it. Right. And I used to think there were certain things that are on my list that I'm like, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that. And it's just over time and, wisdom and relationships recognizing, girl, that person does not exist, Like, so I think we tend to have lists that are a little bit more exhaustive than reality actually can provide for.
Yeah, it's kind of imaginary. Like, in your head, you create this perfect person who, in the wild, doesn't really exist. And so then it's, you're stuck between, do I feel like I'm settling, or do I come back to reality?
Yeah, that's the thing. Feeling like you're settling, not actually settling.
Correct.
But in your mind, like, oh my goodness, I got to come down. Like, so I think online dating definitely doesn't help this, because we put people out like we're picking off of a menu. And so we think that we actually should be filtering out people based on certain characteristics. And not, I mean, the characteristics on the apps are like height, like degree, things that are
don't really matter.
Right. It's not like
Well,
are they caring? Are they good? Right. It's not that they don't matter at all, but for you to X an entire demographic out because of those things, because they're not over a certain height requirement, because they don't have a certain education level, certain things that don't really speak to the character of a person, that we are like prematurely canceling them out of our possible future, like, so I think that reinforces, oh, these things are the things that I need to be making my pool out of. And I mean, I guess I'm guilty too, but mostly because you do have to put something in there, but you don't really think about it because you don't even see those people. They don't even pop up. And then I guess in real life, you approach it slightly differently, but that's in the back of your head, all of those stupid filters.
Your preferences.
So then, do you think that men's standards are different? What do you think men's standards are
in
like choosing a partner?
Funny, because me and my a friend of mine were actually talking about this earlier today, and it's just, if I was to break it down, it would be like fit, agreeable, friendly. Like, you know what I'm saying? Those are more the qualities that you, as a
men
guy,
are like wanting. They just, I think not every, but most of the profiles that I see is just like good vibes only kind of energy. They just want somebody to just show up and not rock any boats.
Not come and be a headache. Don't come be a headache.
Translated, that means come but don't say nothing.
It's not even come and don't say nothing, but it's of the understanding that, like, for me, right?
Yeah.
I talk for a living. That's what I do. So when I'm not at work, I don't really have much words unless I have something to talk about. And so it's understanding that if you're going to be around, I'm not just going to be, how was your day? I'm going to ask because I do care, but it's going to be on a, let's sit down and talk in that environment. And so when you meet people, or people meet you and they're interested and they're just like, why are you so quiet? Why? That's, okay, you don't get it. So then it's like,
you're being problematic, or like you're thinking that they're being like
then it becomes,
contentious.
Unless if you don't understand, then I can try and explain. But if you're gonna then bypass what I'm trying to explain to you, then that is the bad vibes.
I feel like men often have these kind of like
once we have a line. And once you step over it, it's impossible to get back from.
But the line be like not made for an actual like interaction. It's not made for a human on the other side. It's made for like artificial intelligence.
No. I will say it's a line that isn't discussed beforehand, right? You crossed it, and depending on the maturity level of the person or the interest that they have, they'll then say, hey, this is what you did, it can't happen again. Like, if this is to continue, it can't. But if it happens again, just understand that.
I get it, but it's usually like, for instance, this is something that happened to me recently and somebody I was recently talking to.
Okay.
It's like you're in the beginning of a relationship, you're really just taking in information, not really like putting your opinion out there. As you get in and you start to say, okay, I care about you, you care about me, we're working together, I'm here for you, supporting you, all this other stuff. Now your opinion matters, or at least to you. Like, you're like, all right.
I'll consider it.
Right. Yes, you'll consider it. But I feel like what's been happening is everything is great until I actually have input. Now I've crossed that line. And it's like, well, what do you expect this to be? Just no exchange, just all support and no actual kind of dialogue or interaction between us. And I feel like men, as soon as a woman gives input, and I know that there's lines of you're saying way too much, you're becoming, abrasive, but having that, unless she is just on the sidelines cheering you on, it's like, oh, you're disrupting my peace.
I don't think I can agree with that. I would also say it falls in time and place, right? Sure. If I'm inquiring of your opinion on a situation and it is contrary to where I'm going, what I think, and then I get upset, that's on me.
Yeah.
Right, but if it's yes, we're comfortable, but I'm in a stressful mode or situation, got something going on, and rather than wait for me, you're just like, I think you should.
Yeah.
Then it's like, how can you give me that information when you don't have all the parameters? And then it's just like, what?
Do you think that somebody needs to know all the parameters to give good advice?
I do. I think it's just like therapy, right? Your therapist can give you input on a situation, but if they don't have all the mitigating circumstances, then it could come from a perspective not seeing the whole board.
So at that moment, would you just shut them down, or would you have a dialogue?
It depends on the time in which the thing needed to be finished, the frustration level I have with the thing at the time. Because if I don't have time to explain it, then I'm going to say, hey, whatever, not right now, and then go back to what I'm doing. If I have the time, then a dialogue can persist. But a lot of times we respond according to the amount of time that we have. So if it's like, bro, not right now, or I don't need that, it's like, whatever I'm working on needs my full undivided attention. And to stop and try to give you all the details is going to then set me back.
But then it's not like people be in the middle of like work. It just be, I don't feel like talking about it.
But because I might be processing it, I might be internally dealing, because I have this conversation all the time. Like, in order for me to think through something, I have to set aside time to sit and ponder what I'm going to do. Right. I can't just talk it out with somebody, because I need to understand where I'm going. So if that's what I'm in the process of doing, and now I'm hearing a voice or someone saying something where maybe I've already looked at that, so I'm far in it. Now it's like, now I have to revisit something that I've already thought through or already saw won't work, but I can't explain that because I am now thinking on something else, and if I stop, I might lose my train of thought. If anyone's like me, I'm quick to be like, what was I saying? Yeah. So I know that's happened with me where it's like I'm processing something and I'm getting input, and it's really, and I might snap, not in a, I don't want to hear nothing you got to say, but it's going to throw me off. Right. And then where I'm going to be at, because I'm already frustrated with the situation.
So then what responsibility do you feel you have to your partner to explain that, bring them into the fold, have this, okay, let me bring it back. Mm-hmm. I feel like a lot of men feel that way, at least the men that I've encountered. And it's this feeling of having to process and go through everything on their own. Like, I'm going through something, this is my bubble, just stay over there. When I get out my bubble, I'll talk to you, kind of thing. What responsibility do you feel a man has to his partner to let them in that bubble?
I do feel at some point in time there is a responsibility to make those around you aware of what you're going on. I think it's the process of it, because if you ask any guy, right, and I know we don't speak in absolutes, right, but yes. I will say on this one, if you ask any guy, okay, if he's ever told somebody something that he was dealing with, that bothered him, that upset him, that made him feel a certain type of way, and at some point in time, that person that he told in confidence, through what he said to him in his face, I'm almost 100% sure all guys will say that. So when you understand, at one point in time, right, I was in a vulnerable state, and I went to somebody, and then at another point in time, they threw that vulnerable state in my face, then I have a hesitancy to want to immediately let somebody in. Let somebody know what I'm going through for the not saying that it's a fear, but it's a reluctancy because it's happened and I don't want to put myself in that position again.
So that's with being vulnerable for things that are like sensitive. But when I'm talking about a guy is coming, venting about something that they're going through, dealing with, and the woman is taking that and is like now offering.
Oh, I wouldn't. I'm saying my suggestion would be to go vent to your lady.
But y'all do.
I know, but that's not something that I suggest.
Okay.
I always tell guys to like.
Well, it's not. Well,
No, I know. I know what you're saying. I'm just
Okay.
saying. For me, I was just like, oh, like I wouldn't go and vent.
Okay.
I might. Okay, this happened. This is what, you know what I'm saying, it made me feel, but this is where I'm going to go as my solution. I might have that conversation. But if I'm in a place where I don't know what's going on, I'm stressed out, I'm probably going to go to a bar, and have one of my guy friends come and like sit and we're going to talk through it. That's just me.
So you wouldn't let your partner in on what you're actually struggling with?
In that moment where I don't know what I'm going to do, probably not.
Why?
And
do you think that that's a good thing, bad thing, none of the above?
I think it's more so a time thing, right? So when I was in my last relationship, we were together for as long as we were. If something was currently happening, I knew that I can go and talk to this person.
You could?
I could.
Okay.
But that's because we had been together so long.
Right.
When it comes to new situations in dating, I don't. Not until it reaches a certain point.
Right.
Because then it's...
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just... There's this stereotype that when, like, let's say something work is stressing me all the way out, right? And I go and I might break down.
Yeah.
In front of my lady. At some point in time, depending on her own personal opinions and preference, she could then lose all respect, depending on in her opinion, how I handle the situation. It's a thing that we don't always talk about, but it happens. And so then that's another, reluctancy why I would say, until you reach a certain point, I wouldn't suggest that.
Are you thinking about things that are like that challenge manhood or something like that?
No, not even self that, because we are people, you know what I'm saying? Like, I've had moments at work where I'm dealing with a child, right? Not my kid, but a kid that I'm working with, and when the kids leave, like, I'm upset about the situation.
Yeah.
And so I'm not saying, and that's just like at work type thing. Or, I got a flat tire and now I'm just like another thing on top of it. You know what I'm saying? You have those days and those moments and it's okay. But I'm also saying that for women, there's a point in time where they can see a man cry or vent and where they go...
Right, but no, I'm not talking about those things.
Okay.
I'm not talking about a moment where it's like an emotional thing where they're showing their sensitive side. I'm saying they're talking about something they're frustrated with, they're dealing with, and they're processing, and the woman is offering, like, solutions, help, like, contributing. And most of the time it's because, like, being able to be outside of the situation, you're able to be more objective, where the man is obviously frustrated or even just overwhelmed to the point of inaction. And the woman is like, well, maybe we can do this. Maybe we can do spitballing just like solutions and stuff. But the man is like, I just wanted to tell you that I didn't actually expect you to open your mouth.
But I mean, that would just say it's about the person, because even on the reverse, like, we have those instances where someone comes to us and they're like, this is what happened, and then we'll go straight to, okay, how can we fix it? But it's not even wanting to fix the problem. It's just to say it out loud that I'm being stressed out. So I would just say that is a more personal basis of the person, because it can go both ways.
Yeah, I feel like that seems to be a lot of men that I've come across, where they're going through something and they don't want input on how to get through it at all, but they're going to continue to talk about it. And I think me, because I'm like I guess that typical male trait of like solutions oriented.
Right.
Like, we're not going to discuss this every single day, and you're not taking no steps to change it. You know, kind of thing. But it comes off. Well, I just wanted to tell you I didn't want that. Like, why are you?
That might be a red flag.
Oh, they're gone.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's when I get that invisible line of now you're becoming a problem because I'm not looking for you to solve this or whatever. This is my life or whatever. And it's like, that's cool and all, but we're not going to deal with it. We're not going to talk about it every day, or it's affecting me now.
Because I have to hear about it. And
and the way you're moving in response to it, now it's a problem for me, kind of thing. So, all right. So back to these like lists and everything. What do you feel about women's lists? Do they just need to get rid of them? They need to be tailored better?
I just think there's a form of delusion. And I don't want to say like women are delusional. That's not. I just feel like
what point do they start to become delusional?
When
kind
the
of thing?
Type of people who are trying, because I firmly believe this: women are in control of who has sex. Yeah, they are the gatekeepers of the sexual marketplace. But men are the gatekeepers of relationships, because as many times as I said, are you going to propose to a guy?
Correct.
No. Are you going to ask somebody to be your boyfriend? No. So a guy has to then say, hey, I've taken interest in you and I want to.
They push the relationship forward.
So I just feel like if the type of people who you want aren't the type of people who are approaching you to be in committed relationship with you, then you got to take a step back and look at what is my actual marketplace or my value in the marketplace. Because if, as a guy, right, if nobody wants to sleep with me, that's a me problem. I got to go and figure out what to do so then somebody wants to sleep with me.
Yeah.
Right? And so I just think that is the reverse. If the type of people that I think I deserve to be with aren't saying, hey, you know what, I've been talking to you for a while, I've gone some dates, and I want you to be my girlfriend. Or, you know, I can see this as a long-term situation. Then you have to reevaluate what is my actual value.
At what level is it you haven't found the person, or versus like that person doesn't exist?
I would say when you have been in relationships and you have not come to your end goal. So as a woman, if your end goal is marriage, right? If you've been in 14 relationships, none of them are in that marriage, then you have to understand, is it the type of people
that you're looking for?
Right. Is it something in the ones that I'm picking because of my list? Or is it the ones that are in my Instagram DM requests that are really wanting to genuinely, hey, how am I doing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I was looking at Gottman Institute. Like, they had something they were talking about the main standards. Because I agree. I think it's reevaluating what actually builds the characteristics of what you're looking for. And actually, I was having a conversation the other night, a woman that was talking about, you know, she kind of let go of what the world told her was what she needed in a man. And now they're not that long into their like marriage, but, you know, kind of went for it with basically the man that treated her right, that was good to her. Now, I'm not sure if she let go of any kind of physical attraction or anything like that, but she went with somebody that was not the likely suspect for her to consider a suitor. Now, I don't know how much you've been things. I do think preferences are good to know. It's good to know things that you're attracted to, but it's good to be flexible on all those preferences, because there's no need to close your door. The pool is already small enough, and a lot of those things can kind of grow. But I do think there are basic core tenets. But in their thing on Gottman Institute, they were saying good friends, satisfying sex life, trust one another, and are fully committed to one another. They can manage conflict constructively, and they can repair effectively when they hurt one another. I think the thing that I found most true is the friendship part. Because it crosses off a lot of boxes. Like communication, being able to communicate with somebody in a way that you actually understand and respect, to me, bar none, that sets things apart. Because when you have ups and downs, you're able to kind of get through it in a way. The rest of the stuff, being attracted to them, all that stuff, it's all well and good. But if you cannot communicate with somebody in a bad time, you're not gonna get very far. So recognizing the things that actually matter on the list, and they're less about those individual traits and more about, it's like 30,000 feet as opposed to the detail oriented list that most women tend to make, I think. Now we'll have traits on there like he's a good man. I don't know what the hell, but I feel like most of the things are like very detailed, very particular. Specific. Right. And I think that's just how women are. We're more detail oriented most of the time. But I think that's why, well, I don't know that men have a better time, but they seem to be clear on what it is that they're looking for. And it seems broad. At first, when I think of it, I'm like, don't y'all need to be a little bit more specific? But I think those specific traits don't give you a good idea of the person. You kind of got to zoom out a little bit to really understand it. So I'm knowing, like, I know that people always talk about, you want to be friends with your person.
Definitely.
But I didn't understand, I think, why.
Gives you, in my opinion, it gives like a foundation to fall back on when the romanticism of the relationship might not be there. One person might be working too much, or one person we might have a baby now, and now our time is being pulled. And so whenever you have that we were friends first foundation, it's like, okay, we can still shoot the breeze whenever we catch a moment. I
feel like the thing about a friendship is it's a choice. It's a choice that you make without having, like, you're not forced to be somebody's friend, like you elect to be this person's friend because you actually like them. You're able to have, because when you have friends, you guys usually talk about things, Definitely. You're able to have these conversations and nobody's forcing you to. Whereas in a relationship, you feel like you have to do this with this person,
In college, I used to get blown a lot when people would be like, oh, so-and-so said that they're interested in me, but we're such good friends. I couldn't. But then we'll go and deal with someone they've only seen. And then they go through all of this.
With the stranger.
And it's just like, for a guy to meet a girl, right? Our first attraction is going to be how you look. Then we're going to draw in, and we're going to want to get to know you. We're going to want to know can I hang out with you? Can we just, like, you know what I'm saying? Be in each other's presence, not really have nothing planned, and it be a vibe. Because if it's not, then... Because the mundaneness of relationship are those days when we're in the house. Those days where I'm stressed out from work. You might be stressed out from work, and then we just gotta, you know what I'm saying?
So that's something that I'm really coming to understand. Definitely with my ex, we were not friends first. Like, we were associates, we were cool, but when we were like, you think about those times, those Monday times in the house, and what do you want to do? You would love to be with your friend, And so for us, we were like, I'm gonna go hang out with my friends. You go hang out with your friends. At no point were we like, hey, I'm gonna hang out with you, friend. And even going back to, like, all the listings, one thing that I used to have on my list was, I don't want no dude that play video games.
Damn.
That was a long time ago, and I still don't care for video games. It's not something that I'm ever able to really enjoy. Like, I'm not gonna play Madden with you. I'm not gonna play FIFA with you. I'm not going to play 2K with you. I will watch you play, but I'm also not going to be engaged, interested, Like, I can watch an actual football game, actual basketball game, actual soccer game, but the video games I'm not into. But I learned to respect what they provide for a lot of men, and that's that escape. And everybody needs something that they can kind of wind down with. But more importantly is, why was that a problem for me? It was less about the fact that they're playing video games and more about the fact that they're, like, what they would love to do most in the world isn't something that involves me.
And I think it's even hilarious. If you ask a guy who plays video games, he'll tell you one of the things that he would love to do is to teach his girl how to play the game.
Yeah, I know.
That's not even like, to be like every time I hop on,
so that they can do it together and enjoy that thing together.
Women be like, I remember my ex-girlfriend. Yeah. One day I was like, "Hey, let me teach you how to play." Sorry. And she was like, "Do I look like one of your niggas?" I said, "Excuse me." She said, "Do I look like one of your niggas?" And I was like, I mean, I would hope you like my. And she was like, "Well, I ain't playing no video games." I said, "Dang."
Bruh. There was a dude that I've gotten past the whole like no video game thing. Mm-hmm. I'm not a fan of it because I know that there's gonna be a certain like lifestyle that goes with that. I'm gonna have to make space for those video games, and because my love language quality time, like I want somebody that likes to do certain things that I like to do, and you know, but it wasn't just that he played video games; it was the type of video games that he played. At this point, I'm used to like all the sports ones or whatever. I'm used to all the shooting ones and everything like this. But it was something like, it was like maybe something like Japanese kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I'm so far removed from this. Like you can't, I can't have to jump 2 ships to get to where you at. This is too much. This is too far away.
That's crazy because like. Niggas love anime. We love Japanese cartoons.
It is a very strong like market, and I see that a lot. And as soon as I see that on the profile, I'm like, we ain't gonna make it. We ain't gonna make it.
Because I don't care what nobody say. If they are between the ages of all 28 ages, and even 36, I'm just talking about, especially in our community, they got a secret anime obsession. So you just wiping out a whole lot of
I know
great guys.
I don't wipe them out completely, but the rest of the profile got to be strong. I'm just gonna say I was like, God damn, like video games are already accepted. Now this is a whole nother kind of like lifestyle that I gotta learn. And the thing is, I don't care about it. Like it's very hard for me to show that interest, and I know that. Oh my gosh, he was telling me some story, and I could not care any less. Like, I was just, And
you know what? I think it's very funny and not like, haha. But, it's, guys will take the time to interest themselves in a female. When I was in college.
Stop.
When I was in college. I have always been a multi-sport athlete.
Okay.
Right? Always. Mm-hmm. I played instruments. I did stuff like that, but that was my thing. When I got to college, there was this girl that I just thought was
bad.
Oh my God. Mm-hmm. She was a dancer. Do you know what I did?
Some bullshit.
I joined her dance crew.
Oh my goodness, you doing the most.
As in to say, hey,
too much.
I'm interested in you enough to do something that I don't really care about.
Yeah.
I ain't trying to bust no. I ain't trying to be a youth. No. But when I tell you, I joined this. I went through a 6-week probationary period. I was on the dance team. I was going to practices. I was in performance. I was videotaping anything that they needed.
Sir, at some level, you had to enjoy yourself because that's a lot.
Sure.
You learned to.
Sure. But I if it wasn't for the fact that she was in that dance team, I would have joined.
Yeah.
And that's something that a guy will do. We will say, all right, she roller skates. Let me order me some. Now I'm practicing. So when I bump into her, I can be like, girl, you skate? Me too. But women,
I don't think I've ever had a nigga do that. Nothing like that.
What you mean?
Like, pretend to be interested.
Not even that pretend. It's I'm going to... A genuine guy who's genuinely interested in you, he will... If you like to read books, he will read one of your favorite books. He'll listen to a podcast you listen to. So that now I have something to talk to you about that you're interested in.
I think that's where it comes to, like, the friendship thing. I think you have to be able to see yourself, find some interest in the things that they are interested in. Like, I don't know that you can be completely disinterested in something and then get to that genuine level of interest in it because the other person is.
I mean, to this day, like I
But
might
you actually enjoy
dance
you
in
knew
a
how to
song.
dance and you enjoyed dancing.
I ain't never danced before.
Stop it.
I promise.
And you joined the whole dance
I
team?
joined the whole
Dance team was
team.
trash. Dance team was trash.
They weren't. Don't. Relentless.
If you don't put away them shout-outs.
But nah. I practice. I'm talking about when I was like, hey, can I get extra lessons before and after? Like, if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. But I had no interest. I literally joined the dance team because I was interested in a girl who danced. That was her thing that she loved. So I said, I'm going to take the time to do something you love to show you I'm interested in you.
Why you couldn't just, like, go to her shows? Why you had to be part of the show?
Because she was always in practice. Like,
always in practice. So I would be like, okay, the dude that's sitting outside of practice, cheering me on, watching me, showing
or
up,
I can
picking
come to
me
practice, and we can be dancing and joking and ha and together.
I guess that's what. Well, bringing it back, I do think like the friendship part is that is something that someone that enjoys the things that you enjoy. So that way they don't have to worry about pretending, learning, taking extra lessons. Like they're actually into you, the things that you're into, the same way that you would make a friend. When you meet someone and y'all have similar interests, even if y'all aren't the same person or have all the same interests, you connect on this thing and it's a vibe. I
just think for especially us guys, we want more of a balance than to be like-minded, right?
Yes.
And so it's just, you don't have to have all the same interests, but
right.
Excuse me. If I'm gonna take the time, I would hope that pretend. You know what I'm saying? Because that goes a long way. Even if, because there have been times where I would have had no, but I took a minute. Okay, yeah, and so we can, and they did this, and it was, oh my God. No, yeah. I don't really care, but I care enough to have this conversation with you.
I hear you. I feel like that's something I gotta strengthen
Give it a
that
shot.
muscle.
Give it a shot, because I'm telling you.
I can imagine how cared for someone might feel when that happens with somebody that they're into.
Like, I've met people who have watched watched a popular anime just to say that they have. So when a nigga be like, have you ever seen Naruto? They be like, yeah. And then our niggas like, whole time she don't know nothing for real. She just, you know what I'm saying, found some talking points so that she can reel them in.
I think it has to be something that I not am into, but have a certain level of respect for. Then I'm like, wow, that's really, like, when there's this isn't really a thing for me, but like guys that are really into like wellness or financial freedom, none of those are things that I'm really into, but it's something that I respect from a distance. And so if a guy is into those things, I can go that extra distance to show interest in those things. Hell, I'll change my eating habits. I'll change like my budget kind of stuff. Like I will do those things, but it has to be something that is within the realm of something I deem appropriate for my life, I guess. Like, I think, because it's that, again, it's the friendship. If I don't value the things that you value, it's going to be really difficult for me to start pretending. Like, I don't know. Maybe I just need to, I don't know. On one hand, I think I need to worry about that, but also I don't think that I'm attracted to it. You know, like, I feel like that I would be like, yeah, nope. You know, and I prefer to have someone that we align more on the things that we are into, not everything. Like I want to be like, we connect on this and you do that other stuff on the side. That's great. That's where you do your thing and I do my thing, and I'm okay with a certain level of independence in that, in our hobbies and our interests, as long as we can come back and I think like have that, maybe it's that core connection of something that we're both mutually like interested in or have a same shared set of values for.
I mean, it's fine. I understand. No, I understand it. I just think when I think to any of the relationships that I had for an extended period of time, whatever we did was something that we came together to do, and so we built around that. And so it was never like for my we were big movie buffs, and not necessarily into all of the same movies. But let's say I picked one this month, then you know what I'm saying, I'm dragging you to go see this, then you're dragging me to go see something, and it was just like something that we did. We enjoyed going to the movies, but 50% of the time we were watching a movie that we really didn't care for, but we went and saw because that was something that we did.
Would you consider y'all to have been friends prior, or developed a friendship in the relationship, in the context of the relationship?
We developed a friendship into like before, because it took me 4 months to get her phone number. 4 months of like running into her. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it wasn't that you asked her.
No, I did.
Oh, okay.
And she was like, no.
Okay.
So then it was like,
pursuit.
Right. And then after that, we talked for like 9 months.
Yeah.
Right. And so in that time, we were, realizing that we enjoyed Outback was at that time our favorite restaurant, or you know what I'm saying, things like that. And then we started to date.
Yeah.
And so I think that is, but nowadays you find people who like after 2 weeks, if it ain't, I'm out. And so you don't really have that time to develop a friendship.
Yeah, I guess I'm struggling in this space now, because I do see the value of that time plays in developing that. Some people ain't got time. Is there any other way? I think you can connect with somebody and not have that full thing and it still grow in the context of building a relationship.
I mean, yes. But if we're talking about in today, because a lot of guys get tricked, we want to take the time.
Tricked how?
So,
tricked by your representative?
How she presents herself.
Yeah.
And then once she gets comfortable, now you're seeing a different person, and now you're just like, if I would have known, I probably wouldn't have.
Well, that's going to happen no matter.
Not necessarily. Like, if you take the time to learn a person, to get to know a person, see how they are in their ins or outs, just on some platonic, then that they're going to show you their most comfortable self. And so then you have the option to say, all right.
But you know it's different when they get in a relationship with you.
Right, but you get to see them, you know what I'm saying? Because the thing is, a lot of times, you see someone's best foot. Because, like, if we're only going out on dates.
Correct.
Then I'm always seeing you put your best foot forward. I'm not really seeing the other aspects of you. But if I'm just a person in the back, a side character to your story, then I get to see how you interact with other people. I get to see how, you know what I'm saying, you talk to, you are on a regular.
I think you can find that out while you're dating. Like,
you can, but it's, and I just feel like, okay, even like today, when I was in college, I mean, we were talking about this earlier, and I think it's so funny that, but then we come and talk about relationships. When I was in college, a guy or a girl would have absolutely loved for someone to be like, hey, I just went to the grocery store. I'm going to cook us up a dinner. You're going to come over and we're going to, you know what I'm saying? That, because then that is allowing you to see a more intimate side of that person. But now everything is, no, I'm not, don't invite me to your house. Like, we got to go out. We got to be, and a lot of times you don't really get to know a person. Because I'm going to be honest, when I go out, like, to dinner or, you know what I'm saying, like, I'm there, but I'm not as comfortable, as relaxed, because there's a lot of things that I have to be aware of and attentive to. You know what I'm saying? So I think, even for me, if you really want to get to know me, then it's intimate settings are really going to show you the type of person that I am. Then I'm going to be able to, you know what I'm saying, be me that I am most of the time. Yeah.
So I think it's just a matter of, again, creating those environments to truly see all facets of a person. So, I mean, maybe not on the first date inviting them, but I think if a woman is into you, like, you know, from the surface level, once you get past that first date of like, is this person a serial killer kind of energy kind of thing, I think many women would love if you said, hey, can I cook you dinner? You know, like,
I mean, I don't have that same experience, but
No, I mean, I've never had a guy ask that, but I would be.
Oh man,
you asked.
I would definitely. Yeah, I mean, one time I had was like, so my sister bought a house and it's a 4-bedroom. So whenever we are in town, we use like an Airbnb because she's always at work.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, my sister's house was closer to where they stayed. I was like, hey, you know, come over, cook you up something. I can then show you around the town that I grew up in.
Yeah.
And like, you know, that seems too casual for me. That's just.
Oh, okay.
And I was just like, okay. You know what I'm saying? Like.
Yeah. Now that goes back to this whole like list and standard thing. And that's one of the reasons why I do say women, a lot of women, not all, but I think the majority, kind of sentiment out there is things like that, like you need to be doing this, like you need to take me to a real place, I've never been that. Most of my first dates are so fucking cheap. Or even I'll pay. I mean, not that I'm trying to pay or anything, but it's never about that. It's like I'm okay when a guy invites me to a Riverwalk or to a coffee shop over. Like, no, you don't need to spend no money. Yeah,
I try to do something just because I want to see how you problem solve, how you like. You know what I mean? Because I know when you sit down and you've thought about the things you want to talk about, how you like it's rehearsed. Yeah. So it's not it can get to a place of genuinity, but it's not genuine. And so I want to put you in a situation where like, let's see how you move. Yeah. That way I get a better assessment of the type of person you are.
All right, guys. Yep, you guessed it. That's all for today, folks. You're going to have to catch the rest of this conversation next week, airing Wednesday. And trust me, it gets better. It is good, y'all. So thank you so much as always. Please like, share, subscribe to the channel, y'all. Tell your friends about me. Check us out on all the streaming platforms. That's Anchor FM, that's Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts. On social media, that's Twitter, that's TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Check me out. It's is_Alexis. So that's ISS_Alexis. No E, no I, double S. If that isn't confusing enough, just check the link in the description for all of my handles. And yeah, I can't wait to see you guys in another episode. Bye.